The Little Boy from Nazareth. The Little Boy from Nazareth, a story of the early life of Jesus. Prologue, a quiet beginning. Long before crowds followed him, before miracles astonished nations, and before his name traveled across the world, Jesus was simply a child. He lived in a small town called Nazareth, a place so ordinary that few people paid attention to it. The houses were made of stone and mud, the roads were dusty, and the air carried the scent of olive trees and wood smoke. Nothing about Nazareth suggested that history would one day remember it. And yet, in this quiet village, a story was unfolding, slowly, gently, like the opening pages of a book that would change humanity forever. Chapter 1: The House on the Hill. Jesus grew up in a modest home on the edge of the village. It was not large. The roof was flat, the walls were rough, and the windows were small, but inside the house was filled with warmth. Every morning sunlight crept across the stone floor as Mary, his mother, prepared bread. She kneaded the dough with steady hands, humming softly. Jesus often sat nearby, watching carefully. "Why do we press the dough so hard?" he once asked. Mary smiled. "Because it must be shaped with patience," she said. "If we rush, the bread will not be good." Jesus nodded thoughtfully. Even as a child, he listened deeply. Joseph, his father, was a carpenter. The sound of wood being shaped, tap, scrape, smooth, was part of Jesus' daily life. When Joseph worked, Jesus stood beside him, handing tools, observing how rough wood slowly became something useful. "Everything has a purpose," Joseph would say, "even the pieces that seem broken." Those words stayed with Jesus. Chapter 2: A Different Kind of Child. Jesus was not loud or demanding. He did not seek attention, but people noticed him. When other children argued, Jesus listened. When someone fell and cried, he helped them up. When he spoke, his words were simple, but they felt important. Once, a group of boys mocked a smaller child for dropping a jar of water. Laughter echoed through the street. Jesus bent down, helped gather the broken pieces, and quietly said, "Spilled water can be replaced. A hurt heart is harder to fix." The boys fell silent. They didn't fully understand his words, but they felt them. Chapter 3: Evenings of Stories and Stars. At night, the family sat outside beneath the stars. The sky above Nazareth was vast and clear, filled with countless lights. Mary told Jesus stories, stories of faith, hope, and promises passed down through generations. She spoke of prophets, of courage, of a God who listened. Jesus asked questions, many questions. "Does God hear everyone?" "Yes," Mary replied. "Even those who feel alone?" "Especially them." Jesus gazed at the sky as if listening to something beyond sound. Chapter 4: The Lost Day in Jerusalem. When Jesus was 12 years old, his family traveled to Jerusalem for a sacred festival. The city was crowded, noisy, alive with voices and movement. After the celebrations, Mary and Joseph began their journey home, only to realize Jesus was not with them. Panic filled their hearts. They searched for him for 3 days. Finally, they found him in the temple, sitting among teachers, listening, and asking questions that amazed everyone present. "Did you not know I would be here?" Jesus asked gently. Mary held him tightly, relief and worry mixing in her tears. Though Jesus returned home with them, something had changed. It was clear. He carried a deep awareness, a quiet sense of purpose. Chapter 5: Growing in Silence. The years that followed were ordinary, yet meaningful. Jesus worked with Joseph. He helped neighbors. He listened more than he spoke. He felt joy when others smiled. He felt sorrow when people suffered. When he saw injustice, his heart stirred. When he saw kindness, his spirit rejoiced. He learned that love was not loud. It was shown through actions, day after day. Chapter 6: The Day He Helped the Stranger. One afternoon, Jesus noticed a tired traveler collapse near the village road. Others passed by, avoiding involvement. Jesus brought water, He cleaned the man's wounds. He stayed until the traveler could stand again. "Why did you help me?" the man asked. Jesus replied, "Because you needed help. That is reason enough." The traveler never forgot those words. Chapter 7. A Heart Prepared. As Jesus grew into adulthood, people sensed something different about him. Not power, not pride, peace. He carried a calm strength, like a river that never rushed, yet never stopped flowing. Those who spoke with him felt understood. Those who were hurting felt seen. Though no miracles had yet been revealed, something greater was forming, quietly, patiently. Epilogue. Before the world knew his name, before sermons, before crowds, before sacrifice. There was a boy who learned kindness in a carpenter's home, a child who listened more than he spoke, a young man who believed that love could heal the world. Great stories do not begin with thunder. They begin with small acts of goodness, done faithfully every day. And so, the story of Jesus did not start with miracles. It started with love. Thank you for spending your time with us. Subscribe for more gentle stories and moments of quiet inspiration.